This is Doug with the Practicing Accountant. Welcome to our podcast and thank you for joining us. Today, our focus will be on strategies for creating capacity in your accounting practice. We do hope you enjoy this episode of the Practicing Accountant podcast. You got me stuck thinking about the updates now. The other update that pisses me off is the one where you're shutting down your computer because you want to go home, and then Windows has to install 5 updates.
Yep.
Like why on the back end? Like Windows is on the back end, so it updates when you're shutting down. Zoom is on the front end when you open it up. Like, I don't get it.
Yep. It's first world problems. You know, we didn't miss out on the saber-toothed tiger today, so we're eating.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I guess I could definitely find worse things to complain about, but it's just the timing. Like, I mean, my bag is packed and I'm shutting down my computer, and it's like, whoa, oh, no,
Not yet, sir.
we need to update 6 things that that it's not going to affect anything that you do, and you won't notice at all. Like, you're going to come back in everything's going to be exactly the same as it was today.
Yep.
But we have to do it before you turn off your computer and go home.
In fact, it'll be worse when you come back tomorrow because some settings have changed, and you know how it goes.
And why is it that update then is the slowest update? Like, watching the percentages go like 36, 37. Like, it is the slowest update. Like, why is it so slow?
Well, and then it's like do you have an Apple phone?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So when you update, it gives you a percentage of time, but that's not the update. That was it. That was downloading the update, and then it still has to update. And then you have another 30 minutes on top of that. Like, just
I had an old
don't lie to me.
I don't even know what they're called. I guess they're called Macs, but I had an Apple like desktop computer, and I skipped like 2 updates just because I got so annoyed with the number of updates I was having to install on the stupid thing. And then it went like obsolete on me. Like, all of a sudden the operating system was obsolete. I couldn't update a system anymore, and I was stuck with this computer that's now nothing but an eyesore in our house. And it's back on like Leopard or whatever was from like 15 years ago because I can't update anything. So
yep, it's stuck in.
I guess
no Fox or some shit.
Yeah. I guess I'm kind of off topic right now, aren't I?
No, you're good. You're good. What do you want to talk about?
I made a list. Made a list. And it's a list of everything I could come up with in about, I don't know how long it took me. Maybe it took me like 10 minutes to come up with as many ways to create capacity as I could. And which I just share because, give me more time. Maybe I'll come up with some others, and I'm sure everyone's got a list of things. But I'm gonna like speed run through this, which is completely an asshole move, but I'm gonna do it anyway.
Do it.
You ready?
Yep.
Yeah, keep my breathing in for this. Ways to create capacity in your firm or life. Wake up earlier. Be better at planning your weeks. Be better at your calendar. Be healthier. In other words, have more energy. Read a time management book. Delegate more. Leverage more. Create automation. Improve workflow. Hire an EA or a VA. Hire an office manager. Hire more staff. Bring on a partner. Sell the business. Be better at prioritizing. Plan 6 weeks ahead. Quit. Use AI, however that would work. Bring on an intern. Hire kids. Stay later. Have fewer lunches. Delete Candy Crush. Hire a coach. Sell your clients. Be thrifty. Drink more caffeine. Find passive income to release pressure. Stop taking on new clients. Get rid of clients. Raise your prices. Bring on higher paying clients and fewer of them. Reduce the number of services to clients. Stop doing payroll. Stop doing bookkeeping. Get better software. Reduce expectations for client service. Stop meeting with clients. Stop taking phone calls. Stop answering emails. Stop scope creep. Require client documents by a certain date. Hold higher expectations for clients. Get clients who are better prepared. Stop reading fiction. Be less available for family or kids' functions. Stop sleeping. Outsource work overseas or outsource work over Indeed, Upwork, or the State Society.
And a partridge in a pear tree.
My count, that was 49.
It's a lot.
So if there's 49 ways to create capacity, how do you choose? Like, how do you know the best way to create capacity for yourself? I talked with a controller today that's on her way to CFO. And in order to, really explore that transition, she's going to need capacity to develop her skills in certain areas or to practice things, to do things she doesn't normally get to do. So she's going to need capacity. If she just continues working as hard as she has, she'll just not have the ability to even try to develop. So I asked her, what should we do about your capacity? And more importantly, what is it we need to get rid of so that you have capacity? And I love her perspective on it because it's simple, but it's like, what's going to have the biggest impact? Like what's the thing that I do a lot of that I shouldn't have to do anymore, or I don't need to do anymore, or that I can adjust in some fashion? And she's somewhat limited in her resources, but she does have someone that she could train as her replacement. There is someone that could be doing the things that she's currently doing and not have to do anymore. But my point is not that she's choosing delegation. My point is like, what's going to have the biggest impact? Like right now, go ahead.
Let me go back to the iPhone example real quick.
Yeah.
When your storage is full and you go to settings,
nice,
and you see it gives you the gigs and megs of everything on it. So you're not going to scroll all the way down to the things that'll, increase your storage capacity by, 1 meg. Right. You're going to find the thing that's like 4 gigs, which is usually podcasts or videos or something.
Music,
so delete that first. What is that in your life?
Totally. What is it? And I would guess, with some certainty that, the biggest thing, and this is going to be kind of weird to say, but the biggest time suck is clients, right? Like how many times have you been in a position, especially these days with deadlines looming everywhere you look, 9:15, 9:30, 10:15, 10:16. Like if you could just get rid of clients, right? Like this job would be great. This job would be nice. If I didn't have to deal with clients, this would be nice. But what I would challenge is to say that is exactly where you look. I would challenge to say that clients are most likely the reason why you have no capacity. And it's not because they want you to help them and serve them. It's because you say yes to them too often. Mm-hmm. You say yes to their requests, to their services, to their phone calls, to their scope creep, to clients you shouldn't be working with, the clients that just showed up and knew your neighbor and were directed to you, and you say yes because they asked. Like I would bet that one of the more effective and possibly more advantageous ways to create capacity is to right size your firm for the clients you want to serve. Mm-hmm. Right size your client list. Sorry to interrupt this episode of the Practicing Accountant podcast, but wanted to remind you of our membership, which you can learn more about at thepracticingaccountant.com. With membership, you have access to training and coaching and access to me, the CPA coach. We hope you join us again at www.thepracticingaccountant.com. Now back to the episode. I was speaking with another CPA yesterday, and I'm having him keep right now a Santa's list of which of his clients are being naughty or nice. And, as he's working on this time of year, he's taking note of, who's on the naughty list and who's on the nice list, and with full intention of creating capacity by offloading clients, post 16th. And, he's pretty darn excited about it. There's more to it than just firing clients. You've got to consider the economics of such a decision, of course, but, he's excited, and his list is long. And it's interesting what you find when you create the list, because theoretically what you should do is decide who you want to fire, decide the income impact to you as a firm. But what he's found, at least, is he's getting rid of a good number of clients. It's not having a big impact on his income or his revenue. But if you think about it from hours or energy, like these guys are sucking every bit of energy and time out of him, and it's not going to make a big difference in how much revenue he makes.
Absolutely.
And he's going to feel really good about it. And if he was normally adjusting rates by 5%, he adjusts them by 6%, and he makes up for them. Mm-hmm. Yep. And you still got a bunch of clients that say yes. You've got those naughty clients that you've said no to and are no longer sucking energy from you when you need it most. And he's got himself some capacity. I have to say something about capacity, and you and I were talking about this earlier, but I maybe I said this last week too, but I don't judge how someone chooses to use capacity. If I give you some time, if we break out some time for you, if you want to spend it reading books, great. If it helps you get more engaged with your work and serve better, or just have a more enjoyable experience. If you decide to, find bigger clients or better clients or higher paying clients, great. If you decide to spend more time working on your business, awesome. If you want to train your staff more, great. If you want to take financial planning classes so that you can start serving that, fantastic. Like, I'm not too particular or judgy around how capacity is used. However, what I really am skeptical of and curious about and focused on is that the capacity isn't wasted, meaning you don't just do the same thing again. Like, you work hard to fire clients, create capacity, and then the phone rings and dipshit down the street wants his tax return prepared, and you say yes because he called. Like, that's a waste of capacity to me. Is like, and that's the definition of insanity. Doing the same thing and expecting a different result. I want capacity to be used for something intentionally, and not to get you back to where you just were, or just go through like a year of things are right sized, and then next year I'm gonna be right back where I was again. This capacity is permanent. It's a permanent step. It's not just how do I get more capacity this week and I'll deal with it again next week. This is permanent, defiant capacity that we want to create. And that shift requires a change in how you do business, how you think about your clients, how you think about all of it. It's something that is going to be done for the future and stick, so that this change that's being made is long affecting.
The word sticking with me right now is no. Last week we talked about the power of spare moments. I think, maybe we should talk about the power of the word no to clients, because that's where you can default back to those original habits, as if you say yes too much. Once you create that capacity, or even to create capacity in the first place, you have to say no a lot. And I think that's powerful, very difficult thing to do often for the people pleasers out there. And I think most accountants are people pleasers.
Yeah.
I have no data on that, but most of them that I've met are generally working with the public. They're public accountants. They're working for people. And I think if you're in that role, you probably are a people person, and therefore a people pleaser.
Well, of course we are. It's how we get paid, right?
Yeah.
We're not getting paid because we're people pisser offers.
Sure.
We get paid because we please our clients.
Yeah.
And so that becomes a natural tendency that becomes habitual and constant and consistent, and it gets us in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of folks, that get to a point where they've got more clients than they can handle, they don't have any capacity, they're not raising fees, or their service has dwindled even though they continue to serve folks. Those are people pleasers. And even though they're getting shitty service and shitty fees, they're still pleasing people as best as they can with what they have, because it's what we get paid to do. So it makes sense that accountants are naturally people pleasers. Now, if you look at a lawyer, like, would you say they're people pleasers? Probably not. Why? Why aren't lawyers people pleasers? I can't answer that question. I've never asked that question, so I'm a little confused by it right now and distracted by it.
Same business model, right?
Kind of. Yeah. And I'd have to come back to that. I don't have the headspace for that at the moment. It kind of blew my mind just by considering what the differences is. So maybe I'll ask ChatGPT later and see what it says.
There you go. But
I was thinking about your point on no, and I don't know why, but I always use Baskin Robbins in analogy. I don't know. I guess I just have a thing for Baskin Robbins. But if you go into Baskin Robbins, here's my typical experience. I start walking down the rows, and I start looking at the ice cream, and I'll get the pink bubble gum, which I don't know if you've ever had pink bubble gum, but it's awesome, especially if you like store the bubble gum in your cheek. So you get like 10 or 12 pieces over there, and then you just chew it all at once. Like, it's all frozen bubble gum, and it like probably breaks your teeth, but it's fun. I don't know why. But I'll hit the pink bubble gum, and I'm like, yes, that's what I want. And then I'll like say, well, hang on. and I'll walk down the aisle a little bit further, and then I'll hit Rocky Road. I'm like, oh, I fucking love Rocky Road. And I love that the combination of the mellow and the chocolate and the nuts, and put it together in a chocolate ice cream, and I'm in. And I'm like, whoa, let's look, see what else they got. And all of a sudden I find pistachio. And I don't know why, because it almost sounds gross to talk about, but I love pistachio ice cream. Yeah. So I hit the pistachio, and I'm like, yes, that's it. And then I stopped looking, because I hit that one that I knew was going to make my day or my evening or whenever I'm having my ice cream. And I'm settled, and I'm excited, and I'm happy, and I eat it, and I enjoy it, and I maybe eat it slow and savor it, or maybe I just pound it down. Maybe I get a double scoop and I throw some Rocky Road in, whatever. The point being is that I've said no twice to get to my yes. And I knew that while these things looked good, which might just be a client who likes to pay, I found something that looked a little bit better, which is also a client that would pay, and maybe they're more aligned with, I don't know, maybe they're a good friend or a friend of a friend or a neighbor of a neighbor. But then I got to that one that I was just like, yes, like I want my pistachio. Like I don't think it's about necessarily knowing how to say no or what to say no to. It's about knowing what to say yes to.
Sure.
And that gives you the power and the certainty and the confidence to say no to something that looks pretty good and may pay okay. But when you know what you really want, then you're able to easily say no to the things that you don't.
Yeah.
And building capacity in that sense is very intentional, because you're making room for the yeses, and you're not taking on the no's or the looks okays, or at least they pay, or whatever. Like, you're holding space for pistachio ice cream. And there might be a Rocky Road you throw in there because it makes ends meet, but you sure as hell aren't throwing in like plain vanilla, and you're not throwing in like strawberry. I don't know why. I'm not a big strawberry ice cream guy, or whatever flavor it is you don't like. I'm beating this analogy to death.
What's the old saying about accountants? If it's a good client, if it can fog a mirror.
Totally. Right. Or if they know my phone number.
Reflection. Yeah.
You know, if they contact me, that's a good client.
Yep.
But it's so interesting though, because I think, you know, there's a science to it that I think I've found, which doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean I'm right or wrong. It's just an opinion. I've found in my experience that a lot of CPAs that have their own firms have not had a problem getting clients. They haven't had to go out and sell themselves or do a bunch of business development. The work has come. And now it does get to a point where either you become someone who wants more and have to develop business, or, you know, to yours and my point, be intentional about getting the clients you want, and they have to do some business development. But they haven't had to really, you know, figure out what they like. It's just come. And someone's just delivering this ice cream that they're enjoying, and they may not know what else tastes good or what else is out there. And they build up an ice cream shop full of great flavors that, you know, unless they know what they really want and what they want to say yes to, they'll continue to plow through. I'm going to leave the ice cream alone. I'm done with the ice cream now. It's over.
No, it's a fair analogy. I mean, yeah.
At the end of the day, I think it's important to know what you want to say no to, but I think the only way you get there is by knowing what you want to say yes to. Because if I didn't know pistachio ice cream was going to be waiting for me down the aisle, I probably would have accepted the Rocky Road. Mm-hmm. But then knowing that it's there, knowing that it's available for me, you know, I knew what I wanted to say yes to, and it allowed me to say no to two things that maybe otherwise would have been just fine.
Yep. That certainly makes it easier to say no if you know what your opportunities are and another flavor. And that comes down to, you know, making a list of your services and your type of client and going through that data and putting some sort of rating to it that we've talked about before.
Sure.
So, we're good.
I think I've had enough ice cream today. I think I'm tapped out of ice cream analogies at this point. So, you know, if I could recap, there's all kinds of ways to build capacity. And I listed 50 of them just a few moments ago. And I think ultimately it's about which one is going to have the biggest impact to your experience and your firm. And it may not be clients, it may be something else, and that's totally fine. But the goal continues to be capacity is the key to you designing the firm that you want, to having the experience in your life that you want. And we have to seek it. We have to be intentional because forces are at work that don't want us to have it, ourselves included. Our people pleaser.
You bet. Awesome, Doug. Well, thank you for your time again. Thank you, everybody, and we'll see you all next week.
Thanks, man. Thank you for watching this episode of the Practicing Accountant podcast. We hope this helps free up time and energy by improving delegation and planning. We also hope you've learned the importance of saying no, prioritizing high-impact tasks, and making intentional decisions. Please share and like this episode, and also hope you join us again for our next episode of the Practicing Accountant podcast. Thank you for watching.